Hi all, it's the eve of the Victoria Day long weekend. Of course, in the pandemic time, you may not notice that it's the weekend or that it's a holiday weekend or whatever. But we are about 10 or 11 days away from your first assignment being due, so I thought I'd check in with some quick comments, little guiding points to get you to think a little bit about the assignment. It's due a week from Monday, which, yeah, I think that's like 11 days. My math's not very good. Here's the assignment. You can find it here on the in the little menu bar in the course. Where is it? There is it. There it is. Assignment 1: reading historical maps, and there you are. It's a little bit of introductory materials there for you to look at, to think about, some prodding, some thoughts for you to pursue. There's the actual assignment itself. My hair off the screen, and some little basic descriptions of what's going on. And then here are the maps themselves. You can see there are 3 of them. And in the assignment instructions, I ask you to discuss one of them at some length, and then to make some comparative comments on the other 2. So you should talk about all 3, but you should focus the discussion on one of them. I want to point out that here, if you just click on the map, you can, as any image in the course, you can click on the source file, and you can click on it. You can get a pretty good quality version of the map there. But what you can also do, let's go back here. Oops, I don't want agriculture. Why did you go there? Go back to the assignment. What you can also do is click here where I say the high-res version, and this takes you directly to where I found the map, which in this case is the Library of Congress, and they have really high-res versions of them here. You can click on that to put it on the entire screen, and you can zoom in, and you get really fabulous high quality. Now you're not going to need to read all that kind of detail, but there is some interesting detail in there that you might want to read. So you want to be looking over what's happening there. There's also lots of visual imagery on the maps that you may be interested in looking at, and I think, well, not just may be interested, I think you should be looking at it. I think you should be looking at the entire map, and not just as a piece of geography, but as a document that says something about the people, places, and times that we're looking at. So the first thing to think about quickly is that we're thinking of these maps as sources. These are primary documents, and so I want you to treat them as sources. And so because they're sources, you can ask very, very basic questions of them, the same kinds of questions we would ask of any primary sources. Who made this document? When did they do so? What's the context for this? And that's a very helpful way to think about the document that's been made. In another course, we might expand that much more fully. We might want to know who the map maker was, what kinds of maps they were engaged in, who commissioned them to do that, all the kinds of political dimensions that are behind that. We can't do that in this course. That's something for much more advanced study. But it does point to some possibilities for asking about the context of this map, and you might want to keep some of that in mind. The simplest question, the simplest types of questions, I should say, is to kind of run along this line between objective and subjective knowledge. There's no doubt that these maps, I mean, look at these maps. They all look like Africa, right? You would recognize all these maps as being of Africa. So there is certainly minimally some basic, objective, good, hard, factual evidence in here. But there's also other stuff in here. And that's where it becomes interesting. And that's what I really want you to think about. How much of this is good, hard data, and what can we use it for? And how much of it is fanciful, made up, interpretive, selected, chosen in all kinds of different ways? And for what purpose and to what end? And why would you make a map that says whatever this particular map says? So I want you to think about those kinds of basic questions. What's objective here? What's subjective here? And you know, sometimes that line is not nearly as clear as you might think, but to spend some time on that. Finally, I do want to point out to you that this is due next Monday. Between now and next Monday, you will finish the module we're doing right now, the agricultural revolutions, but you'll do 2 other ones. You will do this one, Europe's Empires Expand, which is about kind of early colonization, early European colonization, as they're beginning to move out into the Atlantic world, which includes Africa. And the following week, we actually do a week on early modern Africa. And in fact, we have some of those maps right here. This is one of my favorite maps. I didn't include this in the assignment, but it's a lovely map of Africa with all these interesting figures on the side, meant to be kind of representative of national types. So this will give you some opportunity to think of some of the background for this assignment as we're doing our lessons. So don't forget that these things are connected. These are not separate assignments. These are linked to the work that you're doing in the regular forms, in the regular lessons. So keep that kind of stuff in mind as well. That's pretty much it. The rest is outlined in some detail here in the assignment page. If you have any questions, let me know. We can talk about it in the forums. You can send me emails. You can send me messages as you wish. I hope you'll find this assignment kind of fun. I don't know about you, but I'm a big map fan. I think they're really interesting. They show all kinds of things, and the kind of imaginative dimension of them is always quite fascinating too. There's stuff there that you just know can't be real. There's also stuff that is real, and again, that's kind of the interesting thing there, is kind of finding that line between what's real and what's not real, what's imagined and what's somehow known on concrete scientific knowledge. I think that's an interesting dimension of this project. Hope you have fun with it. I hope you catch your breath over the holiday weekend. If you notice that it's a holiday weekend, take care, look after yourselves, have some fun. Take care. Bye-bye.